everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Devoted to Her. I am your host, Samantha Jade Minor, but we're all friends here, so you can call me Sam. This episode, I am talking about how and why I went vegan. I know that a lot of people are changing their eating habits, they're changing their diet. A lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on in the world with the food supply. There's just a lot going on. So I am going to explain to you why I went vegan and how it's going. So I want to start off by saying food has always been, I've had like not a love-hate relationship with food, it's more like a love-love relationship with food, but my emotions have always dictated what I ate and how much I ate. When I was younger, when I would get upset or I'd be stressed, I wouldn't eat. Like, I remember one time, I got so small you could see my ribs. It was crazy. Now, I don't recommend that to anyone. I'm also not recommending anyone go vegan or not go vegan. I'm not trying to persuade you one way or the other. This is just my story that I'm sharing. As I got older, I went to food for comfort. Like, I already love food, but I was really going to it for comfort when I was stressed out. So it was the total opposite of what it was when I was younger. I ended up, over the years, like I would take out a week or two where I would cut out red meat. First of all, I loved hamburgers. They're like my favorite thing. I could eat hamburgers all the time. But over a period of time, I would cut out red meat and I would just stick with like fish and chicken. Then I'd say around 2017, 2018. No, it was probably later. I played around with being pescatarian. And then when, I think it was 2020, I went full pescatarian for a while. I did it for a while. But then I fell off completely in 2022 when I went through chemotherapy. I just ate whatever I could eat to make sure that my strength was up. I wasn't focused on what it was, what animal it came from. I didn't care about anything. As long as I could eat it and keep it down, that's all that mattered. After that, I spent the rest of the year not focusing on what I was eating. I was still eating all the foods. And I knew I wasn't supposed to because, and this might be TMI, but whenever I would eat meat, I was always bloated. My stomach was always big and I wasn't having bowel movements. I told you, TMI, I warned you. I would probably have like maybe 1 or 2 bowel movements a week. And it was terrible, but that was my life. Another thing that I noticed was, I don't remember the reason, but I cut out cow milk altogether before I cut out anything else. And I cut that out probably 2016. I made my kids stop drinking it, I stopped drinking it. And to be honest, again, I don't even remember what the reason was. Now, fast forward several years, I realized that I had no longer had sinus issues. My whole life, I had issues with my sinuses. People would always ask me, are you sick? Do you have a cold? Is that your allergies? I always sounded stuffed up. I would wake up in the morning, I'd be stuffy all throughout the day. And it wasn't until a few years after I stopped drinking dairy that I realized I don't sound stuffy anymore. I'm not congested 24/7 anymore. And I realized that it was all the milk I was drinking because your girl loves chocolate chip cookies and a glass of milk. That was my thing. So that was the first thing that I cut out, again, for no particular reason. It was so long ago, I don't even remember the reason why. So last year, and I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, but as things come back to me, I'm just putting it out there. So it was December 28th, probably, let's see, almost a full year once I got really serious about my walk with God. It was December 28th, and I remember like feeling like God was telling me, he was telling me to focus on Daniel in the Bible. And I'm thinking, now I know how Daniel was eaten in the Bible, and I clearly, Lord, you're not telling me to know. So I was like, you're just telling me to read the book of Daniel. So I did. I read the book of Daniel. It's like, okay, great story, good word. I've read it before, but okay. But I kept feeling this pull to Daniel. So I spoke to my spiritual coach, and she was like, oh, God is definitely telling you to read the book of Daniel, but he's also telling you to do the Daniel fast. Now, this is last December, and my views of certain things have changed, and I now know that I think it's Isaiah 58, and the Bible tells specifically what a fast is, and it's a fast from food, not just specific things, but that's a talk for another day. So I went on the 21-day Daniel fast, and I would have to say I came out of it very much enlightened, but I knew once I came out of that 21 days that God still had more for me to do, more to change. And I'd also like to point out the power of food, because earlier in the year I had went to my regular doctor. Now this is this year, 2023, because the fast started December 28th, 2022. So I was done with chemo, done with radiation, perfectly fine. But I went to my regular primary care physician just for a regular annual physical. And my LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, was high. It was like 123 or something. It was something crazy. And so my doctor knows I don't take prescription drugs. And so she's like, okay, even if I wanted to prescribe you something, which I don't, because I feel like you can handle this on your own, just, I'm not going to prescribe you anything. Just eat green leafy vegetables, drink water, and exercise. And I'm thinking, okay, at this point, I'm like only like 2 or 3 days into the Daniel fast. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So I had totally forgotten about that. I go on with this Daniel fast, and I come out of it, and my body felt so good, and I just felt so cleansed, if that makes sense, that I didn't want to put a bunch of crap in my body after I just went through this 21-day like overhaul, and slowly I started adding fish back into my diet, because I love sushi, I love fish, I love salmon, oh my gosh. So I'd say by early March, the first week of March, like the Holy Spirit was telling me, no, you need to cut it all out. You need to go vegan. Now, I know that people question me when I tell them why I went vegan, and I've had people in comments under videos and things say, well, if God told you to go vegan, why would he do that? Because he allows us to eat whatever we want. It's in the Bible. And this is what I say to that. We are all on our own paths. We're all on our own journeys, and God has specific directions and orders for each of us. This is just my journey that he has me on, and he has you on your journey. So with that said, the first week of March is the last time that I had fish, animal products, whatever. This is when I made the decision to go vegan. At first I was really confused about what to eat. I hadn't done enough research, so of course I'm throwing down on Impossible Burgers, which now I know, I think most of us know those are not good for you. Like, there's such thing as being an unhealthy vegan. Like, we still shouldn't be eating processed food. But that's what I was doing in the beginning to get by, was eating Impossible Burgers and a bunch of salads and things like that. After a lot of research and trial and error, that's when I finally got the hang of things. That's when I finally found a whole bunch of recipes that I love. It's now been, I think, 7 months. Out of 7 months, I've only had one slip up, And I won't necessarily say it was a slip up. It was Mother's Day. The kids had the whole day planned for me, and the only thing that they had forgot to plan out thoroughly was dinner. So dinner ended up being pizza. So I had one slice of pizza, and I felt so guilty, and I've never had anything since then. So fast forward a few months, I get a call from the doctor's office, and they're telling me I need to come in and have my blood work checked again to check my cholesterol. So I said, okay, no problem. I go in and my cholesterol dropped significantly, and the doctor was like, wow, you really went for it, didn't you? And I told her that I ended up going vegan. And the thing about her, I like her so much because she lets me do what I want, and she agrees with it. She's not one just to throw pills at a situation, especially if you could fix it with food, because who was it? Socrates or somebody? Y'all can look at it. I said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So that's what I did. And my cholesterol was fantastic. Everything else was already good. So she's like, okay, I'll see you in a year. Keep up the good work. The hardest things for me to cut out in the very beginning were fish and cheese, because I do really like cheese and I like fish. But because I found so many other things that I like to eat now that I never thought to try before or mix together before, I don't even miss it. I don't miss fish. I don't miss the cheese. None of that. I've had a lot of people ask me a lot of questions about going vegan and what my process was and things that I recommend. So I will tell you, there are 3 channels on YouTube that I absolutely love, that I've gotten recipes from, that I send to other people. One is Pickup Limes, Limes, Pickup Limes. Another channel I love is, I should have looked before I got on here, Rainbow Plant Life. And then one of my other favorites is Gaz Oakley. I mean, he's got a great channel. He's easy on the eyes and he makes great food. So there we go. Those were 3 of my favorite channels on YouTube to go to when I'm trying to figure out what to eat for the night. My kids have even jumped on and started eating vegan as well. One of the things that helped me fully transition and not look back is when I watched What the Health. I've had plenty of people tell me about it in the past, even before I really felt the urge to go vegan. It was just something that I would talk about with other people, and they'd say, watch What the Health, but don't watch it until you're 100% sure that you don't want to go back. And that was the best advice that anyone could have given me, because once I watched it, it was game over. And so I told one of my daughters, actually I told all my daughters to watch it. Only my youngest daughter and my 19-year-old watched it, and my 19-year-old immediately went vegan. And so we share recipes back and forth with each other. So it's fun to have someone to share recipes with and that understands my way of eating. Now I do have some people that crack little jokes here and there, but when they see how far I've stuck with it and the changes that my body has made, now there's no more jokes. When I started out, I'm 5'10". When I started out, I was 189 pounds. Now I'm 166 pounds. And I just feel better. I feel like now I do love the curves, but 189 was too big for my frame. Even though I am tall, 189 was too big for me, for my personal preference. And that's no muscle, right? It's no muscle. So that's one of the major changes that it took me a little while to get used to, because I look different. But the crazy thing is, my clothes still fit, I might have a couple of pair of pants that are too big, but everything else still fits. So I haven't had to go shopping for new clothes yet. Another thing that I enjoy about being vegan is that, besides I just feel good and my body is functioning perfectly and I absolutely love it, The other thing that I like, I used to really enjoy cooking. And with as many kids as I have 7 kids. If this is your first time on my channel, I have 7 kids. And trying to satisfy everyone and make everyone happy at dinner time, we usually stuck to the same meals over and over and over again. And I just got tired of cooking. And the kids got older and I just let them have their way in the kitchen, just make whatever. Now I have to really think way ahead of time, plan out my meals. And then when it comes time to make them, I'm using all fresh ingredients, mostly. I'll put in clips of different things that I like to make, different salads and different dishes. But there's a lot more care and preparation that goes into my meals. Really taking the time to just slice and dice and cut all the ingredients. And that's brought more joy back to cooking for me. And it's also kind of peaceful. I actually enjoy it. I'll put on a sermon or I'll listen to music as I chop vegetables. And it's really fun because the kids are involved and they're asking for certain things and they're getting online and they're looking at recipes and asking me to make certain things for them. So that makes it even more fun and it feels more rewarding because I know that everyone's eating way healthier and they're actually enjoying it. So I would say that this is my 7-month mark of being vegan. I have had some days where I've just done raw vegan and that's been interesting. That's a whole different trial, I'll say. It's a whole different journey doing raw vegan. Kudos to everyone that is raw vegan as a lifestyle. I think that's admirable. It's not for me, but I do enjoy it certain days. And I mean, it's good for you. It gives your body a whole cellular reset. So it's a good thing. But I think that's about it. So that's how I ended up going vegan. I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be vegan. Because for me, oh my gosh, it was hamburgers, homemade mac and cheese, because I could throw down on some homemade mac and cheese. So it was hamburgers, homemade mac and cheese, and fish. Those were my favorites. Those were my absolute favorites. When it came to desserts, I wouldn't eat desserts all the time, but when I did, I would go off. I just didn't know how to stop. That's probably what my problem was. I just didn't care, So, oh my gosh. So anyway, that is how I ended up going vegan. I was genuinely led by God to go vegan, and it was it's been an amazing journey. I'm glad that I did it. I really fought it in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. I fought it. When I ended the Daniel fast towards the end of January, all the rest of the end of January and throughout February, it was weighing on me and I just wasn't too sure, but come March, I was all in. So, and the other thing, I don't want to forget this either. I don't want to leave this out, because I had went through the Daniel fast and really felt that cleansing through my body. I stopped drinking alcohol too. And I know that contributed to the weight loss because, let's just say when I found out that rum was basically sugar, I haven't had any since. And I don't think I've had any rum since December of 2022. So yeah, that is my story. That's how I ended up going vegan. And I will include again the links to the 3 channels that helped me through in the beginning. I'll link those in the description box. If you do have any questions or comments, I don't want to hear your concerns. I'm just gonna let you know that now. I don't want to hear your concerns. Because one of the great things about my cholesterol being high in January and then going vegan. And I was vegan for a while. I didn't go back to the doctor in the 3 months I was supposed to. Like several months actually went by before I went back for my blood work, and everything was perfect. So I know that I'm getting the right nutrients. I know I'm getting all the right everything that I'm supposed to be getting. That's why I said I don't care about your concerns. I don't want to hear them. But leave your comments. Leave your comments and your questions below, and we could talk. Other than that, this has been fun. Thank you for watching. If you're listening to this on the podcast, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts at, be sure to leave me a comment, leave me some ratings, a review, and be sure to share. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, until next time, take care of you. Bye.